Good afternoon. How are you today? Well, it's overcast. It's in the 70s. Temperature's good. Sky's overcast, So we do what we can. So what's new today? Well, there are a couple of things. Some are real, some are imagined. For example, Judge Luce Cannon, she has set the trial date for the Trump case, and it's August the 14th. Now, if I remember correctly from my days with the Jesuits, August the 15th is the date of the Assumption into heaven, and there's a cure in the waters. Guys like me who are swimmers know these things. So, is it going to happen? Well, it's possible, but it's unlikely because, number one, Trump doesn't have a lawyer, and the judge is not going to put up with that too much, even a prejudiced judge. There will be motions to probably suppress the most substantial portion of the evidence, which is Trump's attorney talking about what Trump told him, which is not protected by the attorney-client privilege because it related to an ongoing conspiracy, basically to obstruct the investigation and recovery of the classified documents that were at Mar-a-Lago. So there's that. So the date is probably not real, but it's good to set a date that early. I would think the discovery in this case is substantial, and that's complicated by the fact that it's classified, and there are certain statutory ways to handle that, and you can't convict somebody without them having access to the information. And you don't always have a guy like Trump in the case who would spew forth this stuff in the public, which is why they have somewhat of a muzzle order on him. So we'll have to wait and see. There was an ad in the Washington Post today, maybe the Times, and it was basically a group saying, get over it, move to recuse Luce Cannon, because it's just a time bomb waiting to explode, and we have the basis, that is how partial she was to Trump in the earlier contest and how soundly she was rejected by the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals when her bad decision was appealed there, and they just decimated her ruling. So there's that. A U.S. District Court has done something favorable in Arkansas. You may remember they have a statute there, and they were going to ban, whichever word you like. I don't like bar because it reminds me of B-A-R-R, which should be banned. But that said, what we have in Arkansas is a statute that was not going to allow families to seek gender-affirming medical care. And the U.S. District Judge decided, hey, that's unconstitutional, both as to the doctor and certainly discriminatory as to those with a gender of which you do not approve. So that's, there'll be a lot more fighting, but it's a very good decision. I'm glad we have that kind of a decision. And I'm glad that we have judges across America who do remember that there is a Constitution, and these outrageous proposals they put in legislation, allowing some politicians to pose and then also to attack the judges for overruling the bad ideas that they put out there to gin up the people to support their extreme views that are, in this case, and often, unconstitutional. The prosecution of Hunter Biden, which has gone on for 5 years, is an interesting story in injudicious conduct. For instance, had I been the Attorney General and thought that the investigation of Hunter Biden, continuing with Republicans in position, in this case, a Republican U.S. attorney, was and is the prosecutor who's looking at Hunter Biden. And for 5 years, he couldn't come up with anything. And so finally, what does he come up with? Well, two kinds of charges, both very questionable. And in this sense, they're harsher than normally happens. The best they could come up with is he didn't pay his taxes in 2 years. I think it's 2017, 2018. He had more than $1 million. That's probably more than most of us make, right? And he owed $100,000. But at the time, he was also having drug problems. And he has since paid those taxes. And in a normal case, if you listen to your radio from time to time, you hear people come on and say, hey, come with us. You owe a lot of money? Don't worry. We'll save you from all that. And then they go out and they work a deal. In his case, he wouldn't have had to work out a deal in the sense of he wouldn't have to diminish the burden if he has the funds to pay the taxes now that he didn't pay. And I think that's the case. So normally, that's not a criminal matter. That's a civil matter in which IRS liens on you until you pay either the full amount or a settlement with or without penalties. Okay, but he's charged with misdemeanors, and the government's going to recommend probation, so he should not end up in custody. In fact, he shouldn't end up prosecuted for the misdemeanors. We don't do that, but everybody's commenting on this. Oh, they're all so afraid. Well, say what's the truth, for Christ's sake, or any other spiritual figure you'd like to choose. Now, the other charge is also a bullshit charge. During this period of time when he was addicted, and if you will, not his better self, he bought a gun, and a question is, are you addicted? And he said no. That's it. That's the second charge. Now, there is no criminal penalty being applied in this case. In this case, what he has to do is he has to go into a diversion program, and then the record will be cleared. So this feels like it was to save face that this happened. But there's another aspect of this that's interesting. And the other aspect is, though this should be a full and complete deal covering all the exposure that Hunter Biden would have, in the press statement, the U.S. Attorney said there was an ongoing investigation. Well, was that to save face, or does he mean to bust open the deal that he made? Well, I don't know. We'll find out for sure. More court cases. Now, the last thing, which is sad, but the way to handle it is clear, is Rogan wants to have a debate on vaccines with RFK, who's lost his mind, and suspects all vaccines. And I remember him when he was doing good things for the environment. And people tell me something happened in his family that got him off on vaccines. I'm in a particularly medically sensitive mood because of Holly's condition and the recent pandemic, and done the things necessary, but that's not him. He's not doing that. And so I don't think you should have a debate with a fool. I don't think that it is a fair match when one talks fear and the other talks fact. And that's what RFK wants. He just wants visibility, scare more people, confuse people. It's totally irresponsible. So I don't get it. I really don't get it, and I don't think anybody should participate in it. No more than I think MSNBC and anybody else should give fora, repeated appearances by Trump. When in this country do we exalt criminals? If Al Capone was around today, would he get a 60 Minutes interview? Would he agree to it? Maybe, who knows? So I posted a picture of where Al Capone was lodged at the Philadelphia Penitentiary, which is closed, of course, but they have preserved the room or cell where he was located. And it's a little more posh than the others. If you're confined, it doesn't matter how posh the headquarters if you can't go out and be free. But that was what he had. And I thought that he should be the measure beyond which Trump should not get better. In fact, I would be glad to hold up the Elba Foundation to help provide for the exile of Trump when convicted of anything between now and whenever. So that's really what I got today. I hope you're holding up under the strain of unpredictable, insider political, false statements, fears rummaging around, uncertainty in how we conduct ourselves as a government, and do what you can to say what you must to try to get us on the straight and narrow. In Virginia today, we have our primaries. Democrats are choosing some candidates. I was endorsed a week or so ago for to become a director of the Soil and Water Conservation District, which I now serve. So I'm seeking to re-up because I care about the issue. You've heard me talk about the environment, and this is a way to keep in touch with the issue and make some salutary contribution to the effort. So here I am in my cathedral of trees, and I look forward to talking to you tomorrow.